right, it is Wednesday, December 16th. 9 more days till Christmas. 6:30, This Fan's View. Welcome, everybody. We got Carl, John, Lauren, Anthony, and a very special guest, Mr. Bill Mattis. Bill, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me. It's
Thanks for being here. Hope everybody's safe. Carl, you safe?
Dad, Dad, did you take this photo on your drive home?
What photo?
The background.
The background is a snowstorm. No.
Let me tell you, I feel so bad for all of those cars abandoned along Route 1. Anybody familiar with the top of 452 clear on down to 202? I mean,
that's a mess
terrible,
anyway.
Terrible. I know one thing. Wawa's not going to get their trucks out tonight to deliver. So,
wow.
Yeah, because that intersection is just gridlocked.
Well,
yeah.
think about how much of a mess that stretch of road is anyway.
You're right. Absolutely.
You know, add snow and ice and people who can't drive.
Yep.
You got a problem.
Yeah. Well, hey, but welcome, Bill Mattis, to the show. I mean, you've been on a number of times. Welcome back. Great having you. I'll let you argue with John O'Brien tonight. I'm going to take the night off.
Well, Bill and I already talked about. We actually agree.
Uh-oh. Oh, I'm sure John will say something that I don't agree with, so we'll be okay.
No, come on, Bill. You and I, we got each other's backs today. I told you, we're doing on the island.
Well, you never know when I may go the other direction. So
just for general purposes.
So you and I go way back, John. Just trust me, that bond's pretty thick.
So then he was setting me up there when he told me he was on my side. Stab you right in the back. All right.
I got you.
Yeah, so you were behind that, and I got you. No problem. It's all right. The numbers speak for themselves. The truth sets you free.
Hey, can we skip right over 43 and just not even talk about it? Come on.
We got some good, interesting numbers here, or names here.
Okay.
It's part of the game. You sound like Mario now. Why are we skipping over 42? Now we want to skip over 43. Come on.
I want to get right to 44, 45, 46. Those are good numbers.
Okay, so that's next week.
Did I get any votes for 42 at all? Like one, maybe? My daughter? She usually votes for me. High school football, Radnor, 1980. I was number 42.
Are you on Wikipedia by chance?
Not unless Christine wrote it. No.
Well, that's where John gets all his bad information from.
At least Lauren got what did you get, Lauren? Seven votes?
I did. Yep.
She crushed you there, Bill.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, welcome to the show, though.
Thanks.
So
right.
Anyway, of course,
what do we got, John?
Of course, number 42, Jackie Robinson won that one in a pretty good margin over Robert Esch and Ron Reed. So that was pretty much expected, well deserved as well. For this week, for number 43, for the Phillies, we have Randy Wolf. Played with the Phillies from 99 to 06. Member of the All-Star team in 2003. He threw out the first pitch of Citizen Bank Park, and he had the famous group out in the outfield there in Vet Stadium with the Wolfpack. For the Eagles, we have Roynell Young. Played from 1980 to 88. Member of the NFC Champion team in 80, and he was a Pro Bowler in 1981. For the Flyers, we have Ron Flockhart. Played from 1980 to 83. Played 167 games. Scored 65 goals and 80 assists. What was it? Flocky Hockey? Was that what his nickname or something?
There you go.
Yeah, see that? You
got that one right.
There you go. For the 76ers, we have Jeff Ruland. Played with the Sixers from 86 to into 92. A two-time All-Star, first team rookie NBA, Spanish League champion in 1981. He scored over 5,700 points and 33, almost 3,400 rebounds for his career. For the outsider, we have Dennis Eckersley, six-time All-Star, a member of the '89 World Series champions with the A's, 1992 MVP for the American League, the Cy Young as well in '92, the '88 ALCS MVP. He probably would have been the World Series MVP if he didn't throw up the home run to Kirk Gibson. He's a two-time Major League saves leader and a member of the Hall of Fame in 2004. So, Bill, you're our special guest, so we'll start off with you.
All right, you got to throw Ruland out right away because we traded Brad Doherty and about 7 draft picks for him, and it completely screwed up our whole franchise for about 5 years. So he's out. Eckersley, what's he got to do with Philadelphia? I know he's an outsider, but still, come on. Randy Wolf. I'll tell you a Randy Wolf story. So my son and I, Will, we would often go to minor league ballparks in the afternoon to get autographs. And back then, unlike today, you could just walk right into the ballpark, sit yourself down somewhere, watch them working out and whatever. And, we would get there early in the day because that's when the players would arrive. So one day we were in Scranton and we walked into the stadium and obviously nobody was there yet. We were, we had our stuff with us and everything. And we just sat down in the stands. And back in those days, and Anthony might be able to help me out, but back in those days, both of the clubhouses were on the first base side near the big parking lot out front. And so the Phillies players had to go in the one door and the visiting bus went in the other door. Meanwhile, we get in there, we're sitting down in the stands, and Randy Wolf getting his running in. This is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he had like a headband on, and he was just running and running and running. And so we just sat there. We had nothing else to do, so we sat there and watched him run. So after he's finished running, he comes up the steps, sits right down next to us, and says, "Hey guys, what's up? How we doing?" And he sat there and he goes, "Do you have anything you want me to autograph?" And I'm like, "Yeah. How about these 17 pages of cards?" And so he sat there, signed them. And he apologized because we were sweating all over the place. And then he left and got himself a shower and went back into the clubhouse, I guess. But just the fact that, most players these days, not minor leaguers mostly, but they would have ran the other direction just to avoid having to deal with us. And instead, he came up, sat down right next to us. Randy Wolf gets my vote.
Very cool.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Do you still have any of those autograph cards?
Somewhere.
That's all I care about.
I have them somewhere. Yeah. I got my Phillies collection, Carl. They're in the Phillies collection. I got one of each.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Mario, who do you have?
So I was a toss between Flockhart and Wolf, and I'm going Wolf.
All right.
It's that simple.
Because
I'm
of my
more of
story, right?
No, well, that kind of like edges him up a little bit. I'm a baseball guy, so I'm gonna go baseball.
All right. There you go. Lauren?
I'm gonna go Randy Wolf solely because I've never heard of anyone else that's up for it.
All right. Anthony?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Randy Wolf has my vote. That's yeah.
Hockey over here.
No Flocky for me.
No. Did you have any encounters with Randy Wolf through Reddit, like when he came through there, or you were
that was
pre your
that was for me. That was
before his time.
I've heard a lot of good stories about him, that he's a nice guy, but I haven't. I never actually met him myself.
Okay. Carl?
What were the choices again?
Randy Wolf, Roynell Young, Ron Flockhart, Jeff Ruland, and Dennis Eckersley. And we could add an extra number for Bill Madison. He was actually 43 instead of 42.
No, it's 42.
I know. I'm saying we could add an extra number. Bill Madison.
Oh,
43. We'll add an extra number, since we missed him on 42.
I'll go Randy Wolf because I'm in the festive mood and Phillies red. So yeah, let's go Randy Wolf.
There you go.
Who are you gonna go with?
Ron Flockhart.
Oh.
But I just,
Carl, did you just say festive mood? All
Yes.
right. Well, then I got to put that out. There we go. Now we're good to go. All right. Now we're in a festive mood.
There you
Someone's
go.
going to get a little upset that you did that because he's not on the show this week.
Who?
Santa.
Oh, well, I'm trying to represent.
Santa
I'm trying
Kringle?
to represent Santa. Don't worry.
Well, the show's an hour long, so he just could be cutting in. So careful. Careful
you never
what you
know.
ask for.
You never know.
He asked me for the login information, so
I don't mind being a part of his team.
There you go.
There you go.
yep.
Sounds
John,
good.
who do you got?
I'm going with Randy Wolf as well. Roy
5 for 5.
Yep, Roy Young was pretty good as well. Yeah. I
So we
would've,
got 5 for 5.
Yeah, we got the sweep going tonight.
Nice.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
All right. So you want to do the recap,
For fantasy football,
or should we go right into it? Do your recap. This way you'll get it done, and then we can talk.
all right. So we got the host came back and we got it tied back up at 7-7 now. I was able to beat the viewers this week, 258.68 to 182.67. So we got back to 8-8. Carl's on the hook this week, and he's going to take us back over 500.
I have a question.
Yes.
Has either team, viewers or hosts, won 2 in a row?
I believe we have, because we were down there for a little bit there when Carl had lost, and then Lauren had lost as well.
Because it seems to have been just like flip flopping for the last several weeks.
It's been going back and forth. I mean, we keep dominating points wise, though. We got the lead by a lot.
Right.
Thanks to Lauren's big efforts the second week that Lauren and Anthony picked. So yeah, we got a pretty hefty lead in the tiebreakers there. And Paul Fitch was the winner overall.
I told you not to give it to him. Now he's going to get a big head. Come on.
Hey, you got to play fair. Ronnie the mailman, he came in second. He was close there. And we had 42 players this week. We had a couple new guys playing this week, so that was good. So yeah, we were good. The Massachusetts Meteor, though, he crashed and burned this week. He didn't do as well. He won last week, and he gets that name. He puts the big spotlight on himself, and he choked it away. So he didn't do as well this week. But yeah, we had another successful week. We got to get everybody get the votes in this week, so Carl can make his lineup going. And go from there. We got 3 weeks left before our playoff one, our big playoff bash. So with it being tied 7-7, these next 3 weeks are going to be important for who's going to be the winner.
Okay.
So we have 24 people in the running for the raffle for the Vince Papale. This week's Vince Papale, right, Carl?
Yes.
The photo sponsored by Carl's Cards.
Autograph Vince Papale photo. Who's his representative is Bill Mattis. So perfect segue.
Exactly.
So there you go. So another reason to have the great Bill Mattis on the show tonight. So
right. And so thanks to Aaron Rodgers for scoring 30.4 or 30.9 points this week. The discount double check, and he got the viewers there the thing. So we got 24 raffle names in the raffle. I will do our randomizer here and go from there. So we're looking for a big week from you this week, Carl.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Anthony said he just feels like you're fiddling down there. There's no real randomizer.
Oh, there is. I can show them to it. There it is, number 17. Can we see it right there? Number 17.
All
All
right.
right, there you go.
There you go.
So you're just crumpling papers down there.
Oh no. Nope. Number 17, Chris Bramble. He was one of the newer ones in the past 3 or 4 weeks.
All right.
There's a 2-time winner.
Who's that?
Chris won a few weeks back. He won a prize.
He won a prize. Oh, did he? Okay, for the
Yeah,
Okay.
he won one of our autograph prizes. Absolutely. Yep.
so lucky him. Actually, I think he won the first week he played.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken. So, congratulations, he's a lucky man. So yeah, Chris Bramble, he's a 2-time winner there as well.
Sue's throwing out the challenge flag that there shouldn't be a 2-time winner. So,
When you win.
all right, these rules that we make as we go along. I don't know.
But Tony
It's all-
said if you win, you win.
Exactly, it's a randomizer thing,
Yeah, he used the randomizer. He didn't crinkle up paper.
Just like the lottery, you can win it twice.
Yep.
Trying.
You can be struck by lightning twice.
So
What was
are
that,
we all cleaned up on our fantasy? We're moving on to week, what is it, 14?
15 this week.
15.
Yep.
14 to 15. 3 weeks left in the season.
Crazy.
Bill Mattis, how are you? I know you're a big DraftKings guy. How's that working out?
It's funny. Football is not my best sport, and I don't play. I have a friend of mine who plays the big games, and he comes out with like 40,000 here, 20,000 there, 100,000 here. I mean, he wins on golf, and he sends me the text message with the screenshot, so it's true. But he's given me some pointers. I play my $1 and my $5 game, and hope to win, 20, 30, 50 bucks, whatever. And the NBA is actually what I do the best with of all the games. And then I think second probably is baseball. But football's rough, man. I have a tough time. It seems like every time my running back gets one carry, goes off with the hamstring, he's out for the game, and that's that. And it just seems to happen to me every week. But anyway, it's fun, and that's really what I do it for mostly. And it still adds a little extra spice to the week.
Yes, it
You were
does.
doing your lineup right before the show.
What's that?
You were doing your lineup right before the show.
That was actually for NBA preseason, yes.
Okay.
I bet an entire $7 tonight on 4 different events and hoping to win $1 million.
Those are good odds.
Yeah, actually they're not very good odds because that's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen. But anyway, it's fun.
Great segue for the NBA and our jewel here in Philadelphia, Joel Embiid. He's a 40-1 shot to win the MVP. Anybody willing to put up $100 to win 4,000?
No.
No.
Not on him.
Yeah, not on him.
Yeah.
Okay, just throwing it out there. $100, 40-1.
Yeah, I don't. The reputation. I don't know that there's any of the Sixers could win it.
Right.
So how are we feeling? I mean, that's another one of. I know Bill's a big hoops guy. How you guys feeling about the Sixers this year? What are we thinking?
Me first?
Yeah,
Sure.
sure. You're the guest.
I'm extremely excited about this year's addition to the team. I think they got rid of a couple pieces that just didn't fit. I think the guys that they brought in, the guy that's going to be the one that really helps the team the most is not Curry and it's not Danny Green. It's going to be Howard. And I think he's going to help the team from a lot of different perspectives. He can be that big man that they really needed to come in and be an enforcer. He's kind of like a thug type bad guy. And he can play a very physical game, whereas I didn't see the guy they got rid of do that. And, just seeing him last night, in a preseason game, the way he got the bench all riled up, that's what he did with the Lakers. If you watch the games in the bubble, every night I was watching the stupid games. He was taunting the other team from his bench every time his team scored. And I got to think he just looks like he's a really great teammate and a great guy to have in the locker room. Maybe that could be completely wrong, and he's on a team that was with LeBron, so it's kind of hard to really badmouth your teammates at that point. And maybe if things go completely wrong, he goes the other direction. I don't know, but he seems like the perfect fit for that second unit. I was a little disappointed in Thibel's play last night. He seemed completely lost. He just didn't have any kind of offensive involvement, and his defense was awful as well. And he didn't get enough minutes really, but it just seems like these other pieces. The rookie looked really great. I know it was the fourth quarter. He played really well. I thought Embiid still shot the ball too much from the outside. Some of those threes should have been Curry's shots, and some of the other guys that we got for the reason of shooting the threes. But I think, speaking as a coach, sometimes when you have a star player like a Joel Embiid, a guy like Doc Rivers may want to go a direction where, as long as you keep your star player happy, you're going to get the best out of him. If you start to get to the point where you've got him all upset and he's worried and he starts tanking, it's not going to help anybody. So maybe he's giving him that rope and he's just going to let him hang himself with it. And when the statistics finally bear out that he shouldn't be taking these shots, maybe he can say, Joel, we need you to stay inside. We need you to stop popping outside. I don't care if you're wide open. Don't take the shot, But until that time comes, I think you're going to see Joel being able to do what Joel wants to do. But eventually, I think Doc's going to bring him in and reel him in. I just like the mix of the players. In fact, they go 10 deep and with real quality players, whereas last year I was kind of like, the only guy I don't like on the team that's right there now is Scott. I mean, he's a nice guy. I understand people in the city like him, unless you're in a parking lot at the Eagles game. And but I just don't see what he brings to the program. And I don't know how many minutes he's really going to get now with all the guys that they brought in. But I just like the way this team. If you watch that NBA bubble, the one thing that you could take away from it was the teams that had the shooters were the ones that were winning. If you don't have shooters that can hit the three, you're just not going to win. And they just went out and got two really good guys, especially Curry. Green can hit as well. And Green doesn't need to be the guy to score 36 points a night. Green can play his role. He can play 18 to 20 minutes and be happy. He adds good defense. He makes a lot of really heads-up plays on offense. And I was impressed last night the way they played. I know the Celtics are missing a bunch of players, and it wasn't really a full regular season type game. But they only have 2 preseason games before they have to go at it next week.
Crazy.
And there was a lot of regulars on the floor for quite a bit, and I thought they looked pretty good. I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to see what they can do.
Shake Milton was good as well.
Well, absolutely, he did. And Shake was a guy who I was very disappointed with in the bubble. He looked lost, and he looked overmatched, which is what was really the biggest problem, because he looked like he was a high school player playing against NBA guys. And last night that wasn't the case. He had a lot of more confidence, and he was taking shots that he can make as opposed to just forcing shots.
Right. Mm-hmm. Do you think that jump though, going into the bubble from now he's the starting point guard, maybe hindered that a little bit? Like, I
wouldn't necessarily call him the starting point guard. I think he's going to be a sixth man, seventh man kind of guy.
No, but I'm saying when he went to the bubble, because he wasn't, getting more of the.
So. I mean, they didn't really have anybody else at that point, unless you wanted to throw what's his name, the little guy. I can't remember his name now, but it could have been too much too soon. And maybe he benefits from that whole experience now. And he can look at that and go, you know what, this is where I needed to work on my game. This is what I've done. Now I'm ready to play.
Yeah, I agree.
His teammates do like him, and that's a good thing because, when you have a teammate that's shooting the ball too much and not making it enough, players tend to get down on you. So they
For
keep
good reason.
they keep telling him to shoot. So that's a good thing.
Right.
Hmm.
So
we
how
talked
are
to
they?
him.
Go ahead.
We talked a half hour about the Sixers, and I didn't hear Ben Simmons' name mentioned once.
That's because he hasn't taken a shot yet.
I was going to say that's probably the longest we've talked about basketball.
I know, that's it. It's done.
So
That's it.
how are they doing it this year? They actually just traveling like normal?
Just like football and baseball did.
Wow.
They're going to try to stay as safe as possible. There was no fans. There was no fans in the stands last night, but there was the entertainment squad. But they kept their distance, and apparently that's up to whether they want to have extraordinary personnel in the arena at the same time. I don't know how each city's going to use. Maybe it's just like football, where you go down to Florida, everybody can come in. If you come down to California, maybe not. I don't know. So we'll see. I heard an interview with. I guess it was the commissioner, and he said it's going to be one of those years that we're just going to have to do it the way that the other sports have done it, and there's going to be issues at times. We expect it. We have a backup plan if we have to do some postponements and pushing of games other way. There's 72 games being jammed in from December 22nd till the end of the season, where normally it's a 82 game season from beginning of November, I think. So
Right.
there's not a lot of off days and not a lot of practice days, and there's not a lot of wiggle room as far as these games are concerned. But yeah, this is a different world, and this is what we found. If anybody did it right last year, it was the NBA. So I think these players appreciate what they had to go through. When they had to do the bubble. Now they've been given a little bit of a leash, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm sure they're going to have the same problems the NFL had, some of the baseball teams had. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. And like I said, it's a different world, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
It'll be interesting to see if they complain at all, like the baseball owners have, about having no fans and how much money they're losing because of that. That seems like it might be just a baseball ploy to get fans there. But I don't know. I don't know if they would do that or if that's just a baseball thing.
I think I think that's a universal situation. And I think the NBA contract that they got for TV was bumped considerably, and they made some good money from the TV contract with the bubble, and they didn't have a really great ratings, but apparently they had a lot of sponsorships that came in from outside, and I don't know I don't know how they're paying these guys what they pay them and still being able to do it without fans, but somehow they're doing it. But that's not really our job. Our job is just to watch them.
Doesn't a lot of money they make come from TV contracts?
Well, sure, that's the biggest revenue.
Right.
In baseball, that's like the thing that separates a lot of them, and the rest of the stuff is all revenue shared, I think. So. Again, I don't know that much about the finances involved, but yeah, I mean, to not have fans coming to your arena or your ballpark each night and buying concessions and paying for parking and all those other things and buying your uniform tops, that's a big miss. And hopefully with the vaccine and everything going forward, maybe by the end of next year, it won't be this way.
Right.
Crazy money. How about this kid from Milwaukee? They just handed him a max deal. That's Giannis guy.
Giannis?
Yeah, I mean,
the money in the NBA is like monopoly money, and
wow.
how you can understand these salary caps. It's a soft cap, I think, in the NBA, and
Right.
So when they say soft, it must be tissue soft, because some of these teams are spending hundreds of millions of dollars each year, and small market teams have issues just like in baseball, and it's amazing to me the money they have to throw around. But Giannis is certainly the best player in the NBA right now, as far as going. Who would you want for the next 5 years? He's just an unstoppable machine, unless he gets hurt. But
Right.
I don't know. It's look at the money that the Sixers have paid out to their players over the last few years.
Yeah.
good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's for sure.
All right, Mario, what do we got?
Hey, one
Uh,
last thing. One last thing. One of the things that a lot of people don't understand that owners benefit from is that the values of the franchises from today to 10 years ago, it's like 15 times, 20 times, sometimes in some cases it's 100 times what they were worth 10 years ago. So the values of the franchises going up sometimes is more important than what they make on an annual basis, because ultimately they can sell these franchises for a lot more than what they paid for them, and that winds up factoring quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. So basketball started. When's hockey starting? January?
Yeah, what did I
Oh,
see?
January 12th. January 12th, but then there was a report today that might be pushed back as well.
Like baseball's being pushed back to May now.
Till May, yeah. But not the hockey's not being pushed back till May, but
Right.
they'll push back a little bit from the January 12th date that they were talking about.
Okay. And they are traveling also. They're not doing the bubble up in Canada anymore.
Well, they're still working out the details.
Okay.
They're still.
I'm kind of curious how that's going to work.
Yeah.
You know, traveling through different countries and stuff like that. So just because you got to cross that border,
Well,
that
they
could
wouldn't
pose
be
a
doing
problem.
that. The hockey is just going to play if they do it that way, it's going to be just the Canadian teams playing in the bubble only. They'll realign the divisions.
Yeah, they don't have a full plan yet.
No.
They've been going back and forth, and I don't know how they're going to do it, because Canada, you know, once you leave the country, you're not allowed back in.
Right.
And that's part of the problem, I think, for the
Right.
delay for getting
Yeah.
it on the 12th, and if they do it that way, they're going to have to do the different divisions and only keep the Canadian teams playing it for them, and then I guess at that point for the playoffs they'll have to go to a bubble somewhere here in the United States and bring the Canadian teams here if that was the case. So.
Great segue on the hockey. 1 year anniversary of Philadelphia Flyer Oscar Lindblom being cancer free. Pretty cool.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
Pretty cool. Big fan. You know, the kid's only 23 years old and went through, quite a bit. So kudos to
Yeah.
his medical staff for, handling that, and hopefully, he continues on that path. He's a good kid. He's a real good kid.
Yeah. Yeah, and he battled hard, trying to come back last year even for the playoffs there.
Yes, he did. Yep. Yep.
But,
Yep.
it was pretty good.
All right. You want to talk baseball a little bit, or you want to go right into football?
Let's hold that football off a little bit. Let's dangle that carrot. Let's dangle that carrot a little bit more, because he's jonesing to dig in. So we'll keep it on the down low for a couple minutes.
Carl's doing actually. He heard Bill's on my side, so he otherwise he'd be all into it.
Okay.
Carl's been sending me text messages since we got on here saying, "Hey, you got to agree with me on this. You got to agree with me." And I just went, "Okay, buddy, no problem."
It's all right. I understand.
Oh God. So
I'm used to getting stabbed in the back. It's okay.
So what do all you baseball minds think about Mr. Dombrowski? Coming to Philadelphia. A couple of World Series champions. He's a proven winner. Are we on to something here?
we heard about but we heard a lot about McPhail too, and that proved to be nothing. So
yeah, but I like the track record. I like the
okay.
I like what he did in Boston. I like what he's done. Where else? Where else did he win? Florida, Detroit.
Yeah, well, Detroit is the only spot he didn't really win. Right? Was the
He got to the playoffs.
Yeah, they
three.
tried.
Yeah, no, they tried a lot. It was 3 out of the 4 teams that he's managed his way to the playoffs, and but
they're already talking Jackie Bradley Jr. to the Phillies to play center field.
Yeah, I mean it would be nice. Like I said, I mean, I think it's going to be a good move. It's just a matter of, with this virus now and what's going to happen if now you're pushing things off until May. That hopefully that's because of they'll be able to have fans in the stands at that point.
Right.
And so we'll have a full season with fans. As long as he's able to spend the money, I think he obviously has the track record of being able to get the job done as long as he doesn't have any hamstrings holding him back.
Let me throw this at you. Let me get you fired up a little bit. So John Middleton hires him, correct?
Right.
Don't you think that he kind of gave him the free hand to make a winner here in Philadelphia? I mean, why would he hire him if he put a restraint on him?
I would hope he would do something like that.
Maybe you should ask Bryce Harper that question. He might have a different opinion.
I think there's still a budgetary scenario involved. When they met, that question probably came up, and this hire is very similar to the Girardi hire in that he's got the history, he's got the rings, and it's kind of like, okay, if we can't win with new guys, let's go with the old school. Let's go guys who are proven. And if we can't win then what the heck are we going to do? But I would imagine he's got some leeway. I hope Dombrowski has the ability to walk into that office and say, we want to sign this guy, and it's going to cost this much, but this is going to be the difference. And I'm not sure about Jackie Bradley Jr. being the difference maker that we need, but hopefully somebody's going to be able to address this bullpen and the pitching situation and get that thing all straightened out. Because I think offensively the lineup is fantastic.
That's assuming that JT and Didi's back, because you lose those two spots, then the offense is going to be totally different.
Totally different, but you still have some really great pieces there. And of course, if you lose those players, you certainly have money that's then freed up to go get other guys that may not be as good, but they may also not be as expensive, and that might get you some more money that you can use for pitching. So I don't want to lose those guys. Don't get me wrong. No way do I want to lose those guys. But also, if the price for Real Muto is astronomical, there's sometimes you got to take that money and apply it somewhere else and hope that it pays the dividends that you need.
So here's a question. You have enough money to keep one. Who do you keep?
Catcher.
John?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would agree with that as well.
Okay. I kind of thought, just throwing it out there.
I mean, Didi was a big piece though, as well. So I mean, it's just, it's not really that cut and dry. It's just that JT is that much head and shoulders above. Well, he's just that much at his position is head and shoulders above.
I think it is that cut and dry, because he is pretty much the best catcher in the league. And Didi, while he had a great season, and I'd love to have him back too. But if we had to go with just one or the other, then it's pretty clear to me that you got to have JT.
Right. Oh no, I agree with you. I'm saying because there's other shortstops that are in that caliber that would still be able to.
Do they have enough money? Do they have enough money to keep these guys in place and get pitching? Or at this point, would it make more sense to get rid of that catcher because you're not winning anytime soon and go get some pitching so you might have a chance to win?
I'll answer that.
Well,
they are in
the
position to win soon. They are in the position to win right now. The catcher is extremely important to this position. Now, like what you just said is very important. If you pay Didi and you pay Real Muto, does that mean you can't go out and get any more bullpen? That's a big problem. I say you don't get Didi. You take that money and you put it towards the bullpen. But you got to go get that catcher, unless it gets to be a point where the Mets are going to give him, $36 million a year for 7 years. You just can't pay that. And you got to go in the direction.
Not McCann. The Mets just signed James McCann.
Well, whoever. I'm saying.
Well, I'm saying, but that's the fallback, though.
Muto, they would play Muto over McCann.
Right.
Oh no, but what I'm saying is that's the fallback. If the Phillies didn't get Real Muto, you would have thought McCann would have been a good replacement.
You
And
gotta
now
hope
that
Philly's got to hope that if they don't get him, that somebody else in the division doesn't get him. But
right.
I think if I'm Dombrowski, that's the one piece I really got to have, and then I can go work on other stuff. You know, there's some pieces in this minor league. I read a great article the other day. I forget where I saw it, but they have some pieces that are very coveted around the league. And, you know, it's just a matter of whether the Phillies want to part with these guys who are their future. And, you know, and they have the pieces, I think, right now to go and get this championship. I think they can be a winner. How many games last year did they lose from the seventh inning on? You know, that they just gave away because the bullpen was so bad. You turn those losses into wins, it winds up being a 2-game swing, and all of a sudden, you know, our record's right there with everybody else, and who knows what could happen. You know, you got to address those situations.
Right.
You got to feel better about Real Muto talking to Dombrowski than whoever he was talking to before, because I mean that would have been a disaster. I mean, he wasn't talking to anyone, I'm sure.
Anthony, you're really right about that, because now it positions the Phillies into, you know, Dombrowski's a new face, and he can say, I don't know what those guys were thinking last year. I don't know why they didn't sign you right off the bat. I would have done that.
Right.
So let's sit down and talk about it. And by the way, here's my friend Bryce Harper. He wants you to stay too. And, I really hope there's a way to make this work, because right now there is no catcher on the team or at AAA that is ready to step right in and do anything close to what JT could do. They'd have to go out and get another guy from a free agency standpoint, and there just aren't that many good catchers out there.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, fortunately, unfortunately, I mean, I don't know how it's going to be. They signed Andrew Knapp again for this year, and then they also just went out the other day and signed Christian Betancourt as well, re-signed him as well. You know, both probably backup guys, but you know, hopefully that's not, you know, their starting positions.
Betancourt's a AAA guy, I would think. Yeah, I don't see him making the roster. And I mean, if those two wind up being your catchers on opening day, then Dombrowski's not telling me that he wants to win right now.
Oh, I agree. Well, but again, you know, it'll come up with the Eagles issues as well. But it might not be a Dombrowski issue as far as you know. I mean, if he already came out and said that, you know, the payroll is going to be less than it was this year. So that tells you right there that
Dombrowski was desperate to have a job. I don't see how he takes this job and not have an assurance that he can have that catcher back.
Right.
Sure. He's got his reputation to uphold. You know what I mean? He's a winner, you know, around the league. I don't see him being a yes man to John Middleton. You know, he was brought here to win. He's got a very small window. You know what I mean? You're talking 3-4 years, you know, of Bryce Harper, you know, prime, you know, you got to go for it. You got to go for it. I don't know what the backup.
That window is not 3 to 4 years. That window is now. I mean, we've already had Bryce for 2 years now, and you know he's going to be good for a long time. But still, that's a lot of money that they spent on this team over the last couple of years, and they did not get the results that were necessary. And
no, I believe, you know, with the track record of the Joe Girardi coming here, the track record of Dombrowski coming here, you already have Bryce in place. You've already talked about a few other pieces on this team, you know, and where they fell short last year. You know, you don't need a whole lot. It sounds like you do, but you really don't. You know, you get a closer and another arm in that bullpen to stabilize that, along with the 3-4 young kids. I think you're right back in the mix. I really do.
Absolutely.
I really do. You know, I'd love to have JT back. I'm his biggest fan. You know what I mean? But are we ready to spend $200 million, you know, on him? I don't know. You know, maybe we'll take that money and, you know, bring in 3 other guys. You know, we talked about that many times.
But do you think Knapp is the person to go with?
No.
Then
No.
what do you do at that point?
He's a backup.
Right.
He's a
I
great,
get that.
He's a great backup. He's a great kid. He's a backup. He can fill in, if somebody gets hurt, or you move JT to first base to keep him in the, keep him in the lineup and get him off his knees every once in a while, or till Reese Hoskins gets back. But
my question was, if you don't keep JT, you're not going to go with Knapp. Who are you going to get?
You got to go find somebody.
Right.
There's a few other guys. There's a few other guys out there, but you're only going to bring them in on a 1-year deal. You know what I mean? Because that's the nature of the position when you do that.
Well, they have a couple catchers in the system that apparently are going to be very good. That may take 2 years, 3 years, who knows? Let me make a fantasy baseball analogy. Let's say you're on draft night. You got your sheet in front of you. You need a catcher. And there's JT Realmuto and 7 stiffs out there. JT Realmuto now is going to go for a lot more than I'm prepared to go a lot more on JT Realmuto because of the fact that there just isn't a whole lot else out there. You talk about Didi, it's similar, but not quite as severe in the catcher situation versus the shortstop situation. There's other shortstops out there that could fill that role. There just isn't other catchers. There just isn't.
You're right. It's easier to find a shortstop than it is a good catcher that's going to be able to do what he can do.
Right.
So
now is he going to get the money he wants in the first place this year? That's another thing with this year is a little odd. So
I don't think so.
The owners have a lot of say. I don't think we could really afford it this year.
Well, if you look at McCann's numbers, it was like between 40 and 50 million for 4 years.
For McCann.
No, I understand. So I mean that's 10, 12 million a year. So I mean he's going to get close to. He's not going to get to 20. I don't think that he was hoping for. Maybe. I mean but he might still get 15 to 18.
I think I think he gets to 20. It's a very difficult situation, especially if you've got some collusion going along with some of the owners.
Right.
It's possible that is real because of the fact that they know they don't have the ballpark attendance to help pay for these things, and the Phillies have to take a look at themselves and say, hey, do you really want to win this thing or not? Because if you really want to win this thing, you got to bring them back almost at any cost. And if it's $20 million that gets it done, make the deal.
Right. No, I'm all there with you. Maybe because of the way things are right now, being uncertain, maybe he does a 1-year deal, more so, and then he's taking a chance again. But possibly there's a 1-year deal, because supposedly the Angels are high on him as well. To not waste, just like the Phillies may be wasting Bryce Harper's years, they don't want to waste Mike Trout's years. So they're going forward that they're a team that might be interested as well. So yeah, I mean he's going to get his money. I mean, like you said, because he's the main prize out there for catchers, the teams that need them. So it's just a matter of being able to establish yourself other positions in pitching as well. Because like we said, I mean pitching is, like Anthony's been saying, is the biggest need, but if you go heavy for pitching and you lose a Didi and you lose a JT, that offense isn't going to be the same.
Right.
As much as we think it is going to be, it won't be nearly the same as it was this past year in a 60-game season. It just won't be the same offense, and you'll have to win more games because of pitching at that point. Then.
So speaking of offense,
are you giving them 5 minutes?
I'm giving you 5 minutes, John.
Oh no! This is Lauren's chance to be shining because it's when must be the issue.
We can't go the whole show and not talk.
I didn't say it. I didn't
say you did. I don't know you. We haven't talked yet, so we didn't get the boxing gloves out yet, but we didn't know what what your side was. So let's get Lauren's side, because obviously a lot of people know my side of things.
So
Well,
let's just hang on for 1 second, because is this not Philly sports through and through? I mean,
Absolutely.
we go through this with all of our big name athletes.
Yep.
I mean, you put these tags on these guys, you know. I mean, we're doing it with Bryce Harper, you know. I mean, it's just we put these tags on these guys, franchise players, right?
I mean, we got five quarters now of Jalen Hurts, and he's a Hall of Famer. So that's what everybody's, you know. And I listen. Whatever these arguments are tonight, Jalen Hurts is not the problem. So I just want everybody to know that it's not. Any of my comments are not a bash on Jalen Hurts. He's not. He's not.
John, you and I have talked about this, and I will attest to that. It's not. So, Lauren, what are your thoughts?
Well, my guess is that before John even says anything, he's going to tell me that Doug Peterson called a different game as Hurts as the quarterback, and that if he would call those same plays for Carson Wentz, they might get better results. He's also going to tell me that receivers and running backs seem to magically get open for Hurts that they don't for Wentz, and that overall the team just really seemed to step up, whereas before they didn't with Wentz, and they all kind of just hung their hats and didn't really play very well. So that's what I'm guessing John's going to tell me. And to that, I'm just going to say he's just a different quarterback. He brings a spark to the team the same way Nick Foles did.
So to that line of thinking, I thought a different game was called as well. But was it that Doug was calling different plays, or you didn't have Carson going rogue and not listening to what Doug was calling?
Well, it was different plays being called because he's a different type of quarterback. He runs a lot more. So it's just a different style. But that style just seems to fit better maybe with Doug Peterson.
So
to work a little bit better hand in hand. Carson Wentz isn't nearly as mobile. His injuries certainly don't allow for that. He's just not a running quarterback. So maybe that just aligns a little bit better with Peterson and the plays he's able to call. I don't know.
So I'll tell you what I'm curious about. I want to see what happens this week when the Cardinals had an entire week to go over, you know, all the plays that he called, because the Saints had him figured out in the second half, and they almost got shut down. So I'm just kind of curious as to what's going to happen this week when they play, and if he can do what he did last week, I'm okay. I have no problem with that. I'm just curious to see, because I have a feeling that it's just like when you have a pitcher that pitches for the first time in the major leagues. They really don't have anything to go on until after they watch them. So I don't know. I think the team did play good as a whole. Defense showed up, and that could be because they weren't on the field a lot. If I'm wrong, tell me, but that's my guess. Bill, you going to say something?
Yeah, I think what happened was the Saints didn't respect Hurts's ability to throw the ball. I think they played 8 men in the box. I think they played a completely different defensive style that they would have played versus Wentz, and wound up getting burned in the first half. And Hurts had a great half and did a great job. You know, I was a fan of the fact that they made that draft pick, but half the city of Philadelphia wasn't. And those are the same people right now. They're saying, we got to play Wentz. It's unbelievable how many of these people have flip-flopped from not wanting to take him in the first place to now saying he should be the starter.
Right.
You know, the thing that I am most upset about in regards to the whole situation is the way that it was handled. You know, they could have come out and just said, hey, you know what? We don't have a whole lot of direction here as far as this season's going. So we're going to sit Carson down. He's going to be able to get healthy. He's going to be able to watch from the sideline. He's going to be able to see the game from a whole other perspective. And we can find out what Jalen can do. we drafted him high because we expected to get something out of him. Now we have a chance to see what he can do. That's the way they should have positioned it. Instead, they just said, Hurts is going to start, Wentz is not. And it made it seem like it's a benching. Okay. And maybe it was a benching, but even if it was a benching, you don't say that. You kind of position it. Meanwhile, Carson, who is your $1,700 million man on the sideline, is going, man, where's my future with this team? I don't have any idea. You know, and now you've got an asset in a guy like Carson Wentz, who is kind of lost even more than he may have been last week when he was playing. And I just think the way they handled it was not good. That being said, I'm thrilled that Hurts is playing. He should be playing. And Carson was terrible this year. And I want to see what Jalen Hurts can do. And then at the end of the season, you have the ability to analyze everything and make a decision as to what you want to do going forward. Do you keep them both? Do you trade one? Do you trade Carson? Do you trade Hurts? You know, everything I've ever learned in life is that you buy low and sell high. You don't sell low. And so you're not going to get as much for a Carson Wentz at this time than you might have when he was really, really great. So I don't see that being an opportunity. You might be able to move Jalen Hurts at some point if he plays well the rest of the season. Now you have an asset. If you can get 3 first-round picks for him or 2 first-round picks and a second, now you've gotten a guy who you picked in the second round, and you have turned him into, you know, a better asset. I think what they're going to wind up doing is going forward with both of them, but that's just me. Like I said, I am thrilled with the way that he's playing, and I love watching him out there. It's exciting to see a young guy like that get a chance, and the team seems to be rallying around him. I just wish the situation was handled a little better in regards to Carson.
Yeah, I just don't know that you can go with both of them, to be honest with you. Just because, for one, it wouldn't be fair to Hurts if you know he's playing well, and he's a starter next year, and then you got Wentz sitting on the bench.
Well, you don't have to make a decision now. You don't have to worry about that until.
Well, no, but you're going to have to make that decision at some point, and then the same thing. It wouldn't be fair to Wentz if Hurts is sitting on the bench, because you know as soon as he has 3 bad plays, we need to have Hurts in there. So
okay,
you know,
if Jalen goes out the next 3 games, it is not good. Then you have your decision made. Like I said, you don't need to make that call right now. Nobody's trading anybody at this point.
Yeah, not today. Yeah,
let's just see what the kid can do, and then make the decision in the offseason.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that, and you know I agree with you as well. With that, you know, he should be playing, you know, right now, because he gives you the best chance to win because of his legs right now. And you know,
it's not about the best chance to win. Nobody cares about winning at this point. Really, it's more about seeing what Jalen Hurts can do.
Well, that's how we say yes, but the Eagles sit within that locker room. They want to be winning right now because they still think that they're going to win the playoffs.
The players do, but right now, every win we get is making us go down the draft picks. Oh, right. Okay, so we move to playoffs. What's going to happen at that point? You know, and so the reality of the situation is, let's just see how the kid does. I'm thrilled to see him out there. I think it's a great idea. I just would have positioned it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was refreshing to watch them play well for a change.
Yeah, and he makes the defense adjust differently than when Carson's in there, and it's just you know, it's up to the defensive coordinators to then make the adjustments at halftime or before the game now, you know, to see how they can deal with him. I think he's going to have a tougher time the next couple of weeks, but who knows? Maybe he'll do really well, and I hope he does.
All right. No, we all want them, you know, to do well. I mean, it's not, you know, we don't want any of them to not do well. And like I said, it's not a problem with him. You know, it's more of a team issue. Yes, Lauren, as far as to answer your question, Doug Peterson did make some different play calls, but those play calls that he made aren't play calls you would use for Wentz. But you have to build, just like he built the offense around Jalen Wentz to make him have his best plays. That's what I need Doug Peterson to do for Carson Wentz for the past year, because you went 12 weeks and you saw how much he was struggling trying to put a square peg in the round hole. If you change things up, maybe Carson Wentz isn't as defective as he is right now. And that's where Doug Peterson has his. That's where it falls on him and the offensive coaches, because the same way with Hurts. Hurts had a great first half, and then they changed the defense, and Doug Peterson and the coaches in the offense didn't have a response for that, or even expect them to change it after having should have put up 20 points in the first half if Jake Elliott makes the field goal. That's where the issue is. It's more on the coaches not being able to put the guys in the best position. And that's all I've asked for this whole year is, Carson Wentz wasn't being put in the best position for whatever reason. And that's why he's looking bad. He doesn't have anybody to throw to, and the offensive line wasn't, being put in the position to be the best. It worked this week, but the second half they got shut down. I mean, Jalen Hurts was 5 for 9 in the second half. And again, Jalen Hurts, I'm saying, the passing game was 5 for 9 for 38 yards in the second half. And, they didn't do much offensively in the second half. That's where the problem is. And again, I don't think that's a quarterback issue. I think that's a coaching issue as far as not being able to make the adjustments to make the team do what they're supposed to do.
I don't think it's a coaching issue as much as it is player personnel director issue.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
How many guys in the offensive line got hurt? Alshon Jeffrey got hurt early in the season. Deshaun Jackson got hurt in the season. Zach Ertz was out for 5-6 weeks. Hey, these are major, major parts of Carson Wentz's offense. And he was out there without all of those. And, we weren't prepared for that. And that I put at Howie Roseman's feet. I've heard that, since 2016, we've only had one Pro Bowl player drafted or something like that. And it's Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. 50
so it sounds to me, you look at the receivers that he has drafted over the past couple of years, Arcega-Whiteside and Rieger. Rieger, we still have to see about him, but there's other players in the leagues that have done a lot more than those players have. And, I look at the player personnel director more than I look at the coach. That's just me. And the same thing with the quarterback. I look at the player personnel director more than the quarterbacks because they weren't given the pieces to work with that they should have been.
No, I agree there. I mean, if you're going to rank them in order, I think it's the player, Howie Roseman, and then the coaching staff, and then the Carson Wentz probably, in the beginning of the year, and then the defense wasn't playing well as well. I mean, look at the offensive line. Jack Driscoll now he had a good game, and then now he's out for so we're going into week 13 or 14 now, and we have 13 different lineups. For the offensive line, so you can't win that way as well. And so. We moved the ball in the first half because Jalen Hurts ran the ball. The wide receivers.
All right, we're up against the clock, and I got a couple things that I want to get in before we end the show. Anthony, anything new happening in minor league baseball that you can bring out?
There was an article that I didn't fully get to read yet, but it was in The Athletic, if anyone has a chance to read it. And it was about the 120 minor league owners, not all of them, but a lot of them being frustrated. They purchased the team to have an ownership of the team, and now you're essentially going to be called a licensee. It would essentially be, you purchased a pizza shop to own it yourself, not to be a Domino's Pizza and being told what to do. So the franchise values are going down tremendously, and we don't really know how that's going to affect the future. Also, obviously there's still not a schedule yet, so you need that Major League Baseball schedule to be figured out, even though it's out there. If they're starting in May, we're trying to figure out, when can we start with the amount of guys in spring training. So not much more is known, but I would tell anyone to sort of read that article in The Athletic if you can, because it sort of gives you the frustration that the current ownership of teams have. It's sort of, it might eventually become something where it's more like, you know, the NBA D League or the WNBA or something like that, where the major league teams do a lot more of the sales. The minor league is not the breadwinner as it was, and that might be fine for them as long as it develops the players. But for the people that work in it, it makes it pretty difficult. So I hope that's not the case. We'll see in the coming weeks and months.
All right. Well, just keep us posted on that, and if you know, if you come up with anything, you know, certainly share it on our page.
Sure.
We got a lot of people interested in baseball for the new year, so they appreciate your input.
Sure.
A lot of people have you know, contacted me, and we're hoping that we can cut a deal and, you know, sign you to a contract to keep you as part of the show. So I don't know that we got a whole lot. So, but
Anthony, if you need an agent.
how did I know you were gonna?
I have a history with that guy.
Yeah, you got to go the other way.
With that, that guy.
Very good.
It's like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Lauren, give us an update on Humane Pennsylvania. Where are we at as we enter 2021?
So just quick, we do have some holiday raffles happening right now. So it's $2 a ticket. There's 9 different baskets right now. I'll post the link later on This Fan's View if anyone's interested in purchasing. That raffle ends on Sunday at 6 o'clock, and all the money raised obviously supports the organization. We are ending 2020 on a relatively good note, which is kind of weird to say, but we've been pretty lucky this year through everything. So everything is looking good. We're planning for 2021. We are optimistic, but also, you know, obviously very realistic on what can happen. Our first major event right now is scheduled for May 8th of 2021. And that will move forward if there are no outdoor regulations as far as limit on people primarily. So we'll see how that goes. That'll be our walk. But otherwise, you know, we're good. People are adopting. Right now we have waived adoption fees at our Lancaster shelter until December 23rd. So if you're interested in a cat or a critter, we don't have too many dogs right now, which everyone is yelling at me about, but it should be seen as a good thing because that means there's no dogs in the shelter. But people come to us for dogs, so I get it. But cats and critters, free adoptions right now till the 23rd.
Excellent.
Right. So takeaways. You're up.
I'm going to start it.
We're going to go.
My takeaway is that I need some more assists from our fans of the page. We're about 2/3 of the way on Carl's Kettle for Humane Pennsylvania. We're trying to raise $500. I'm matching it. Mario's matching it. So we want to make a nice donation for 2021 of $1,500. So anybody that's interested, feel free. Like I said, we're about 2/3 of the way there. So I need a little bit more help. And everybody that makes a $25 donation, they'll get thrown into John's little gadget up there. We'll throw all the names into. We won't use little pieces of paper. We'll go high tech and use the generator.
The randomizer.
Yeah, randomizer. And we're going to give away an autographed Philly Fanatic 2008 World Series Fanatic that's extremely rare. They sell for about $300. So somebody's going to win that prize. So, like I said, I could use a little bit more help, and you know, we're gonna get to the finish line on this. So, I want to thank Bill Mattis for joining us tonight. He always has some great insight. Love talking sports with him. You know, anybody who wants to reach him, he's on Facebook and Twitter, and you know, he's got pets and grandkids, and he's always showing them all off. So, Bill, thank you.
Always a full plate. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and the crew, and we'll have you back real soon.
Same
All
to you,
right.
Carl. Thanks for having me. It was always great.
John, you're up.
I'm up. All right. Well, just since I did a little bit of shoveling already today and clean off a couple of the cars, just be careful out there because it is very slippery, as Carl found out with his 3-hour commute home today. But with our first snowstorm, so just take it easy. It's very heavy, so that's why I've already done it a couple of times, taking it a little at a time, so that
You have kids, right?
I do have kids. Yeah, they were out there as well.
Okay.
It still takes a lot out of you. So you don't want to be being a snowman yourself in the first snowstorm here because you passed out after getting done. So that might delay things a little bit for me on the fantasy football side, getting all the reports. But we'll have our lineups in. Carl will have his lineups in for before the games tomorrow. But everybody enjoy themselves, stay safe, and enjoy.
All right. Anthony.
So speaking of snowmen, we're going to do a combined takeaway. So I like a lot of the bobbleheads the Fighting put out. This one might be my favorite. So it's a Screwball Olaf combo bobblehead, and it is so cute. I know my mother wants one. But right now, I think if you go, is it your online store? You spend $20, you get this guy for free. So everyone should do that because he's so cute.
I'll be in line. I'll be getting a couple.
It's not even 40 or 50, $20. You can buy a hat and get a bobble. That's a deal. Right?
Exactly.
There you
I'm
go.
going to be getting 3 hats.
You got to buy him separate transactions, John.
That's okay.
There you
I have my red and I have red and stuff coming out the wazoo with all the deals that they make.
I'm glad you edited yourself there, by the way.
Oh, I did. It's a family show, but no, it's a great deal. That's a special bobblehead too.
Good.
So
All right.
Yeah.
So cute.
Mr. Bill, you're up.
Well, my takeaway is just that we should be fortunate, or we should feel fortunate that we have the teams that we can talk about, and the fact that they're actually playing. Because remember, 6 months ago, having these teams even playing was a question mark. And we can talk about the Phillies potentially winning a championship. We talk about the Eagles, developing their team. We talk about the Sixers maybe winning a championship, or the Flyers winning a championship. There's a lot of cities out there that don't have contenders like we do. And then I know compared to what the real world's going through right now, it's really not that important, but it gives you something to root for. It gives you something to talk about. It gives us something for a show like this to talk about. And it's good. Whether you agree with one side or the other side, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that you have the ability to talk about it that makes it important. And I want to thank you guys for having me on tonight. You guys are the best. And happy Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. And I'm sure I'll see you guys on here again.
Absolutely. All right. So for me, just basically going to wish 2 very good friends of mine, Martha and Anthony, who are going through some really bad stuff right now. I'm with you. So with that, I will say have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week. We're on next week.
Yeah, no, we're back. We're back.
All right.
Christmas Eve.
yeah.
All right.
Sounds
Thanks
good.
for joining us.
Thank you.
I'll bring
6:30
you
next
popcorn.
Wednesday.
Yep.
Thank
Get some
you.
more popcorn. Thanks.